we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to introduce myself, and I'll let my partner here introduce herself. But my name is Michael Washington. I am a TCI account manager. I am a former high school teacher of 22 years out here in Sacramento, California. And I'm excited to share with you guys ways that TCI can support you and differentiate lessons and support your students. Take it away, Abby.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what part of the United States you're in. My name is Abby Boyce, and I am a national training specialist for TCI as well as a customer consultant. I've been an educator for almost 30 years. Fell in love with the product. Super excited to be with everybody today. And Michael and I are going to give you some really great strategies and support for differentiation in your classroom. So we're thrilled that everybody is here with us today.
All right. So, just to let you guys know a little bit of what we're going to focus on this morning or afternoon for you is that we're going to get a little bit of icebreaker, kind of like, do some just to see where everybody's at, start off the day. We'll talk about access points on how TCI creates access points for students that may have some challenges with lessons. We're going to address vocabulary and how to support students with vocabulary, our digital reading supports and reading tools, enrichment tab and dive deeper. And there's also our differentiating toolkit that you can see in our program as well. That gives a lot of flexibility examples of how to also group your students together as well. So, Abby, you ready to get started?
I am ready.
All right.
So we want to
So,
make go
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 ahead,
ahead,
Abby.
Michael.
No, it is
No,
all
I,
you.
I was just going to
So,
say we want to make sure if you didn't get it in your first session, we'll drop the link in chat. But we did provide a back to school summit notebook for you to keep notes in, and so we'll drop the link in the chat if you didn't get that already. That might be helpful as you're going through not just our session but the other sessions that follow. If you didn't get that, so we'll drop that in chat in just a moment. And we also will drop in chat the link to the session schedules so you can keep yourself on track and know when you're finished with Michael and I where you're going to go next and how you're going to get there. And I'll drop those things
awesome.
in chat right now.
Thanks, Abby. Appreciate it. So, I want to, for our icebreaker, take a poll on how is your preferred way to learn? I think often that in education, secondary especially, I think that we don't always consider that people learn in so many multiple ways. So, curiosity, I'm going to explain each of these pictures here, and I would love for you guys to share. I'm going to put a poll up here in a second. What is your preferred way of learning as well? So, that is, I think we got a question. Is seeing presenter view is fine, by the way. 'Cause I'm going to be going back and forth in our tabs here, so we can see online. So thank you for asking that question for us. So the first thing is number one, if you're a person that loves to learn verbally and have communication and that back and forth, and I was that student that always was raising questions, my hands, and talking to my teachers and learning that way, you would be a number one. If you're somebody that likes the repetition and likes to practice and likes to just doing a task over and over again to get better at it, to feel more confident, then you would probably be a number two. If you're somebody that likes to look at things visually instead of it being written, or you just have to kind of see videos to kind of learn, then that visual learner, you are a number three. If you're somebody that's always doodling or writing the information down and you have to write it down to remember or it helps you remember, um, then that's a good way for you to express what you learned, then you would be a four. If you're somebody that likes the activities, the engagement, the role playing, just moving around, and that's how you remember and learn, then you would be a five. And lastly, if you're somebody that likes to work within a team and have a role in that team, what would be and you like that would be your way of learning, you would be a six. So I'm gonna pop this poll in right now for you, and I want you guys to tell me which way do you like to learn? So you guys should see a poll pop up, hopefully. There we go. I'm seeing some
Yeah, there we
numbers
go.
come in.
Interesting.
Seeing right now number fours. Well, we got fours taking the lead here. The writers, okay. A lot of fours. Looks like getting close. 75% have participated at this point. Let's see here. Three's making a comeback here. Uh-oh, three's making a comeback. Those are our visual learners.
Yep.
So as you guys are still going through your poll results, and we'll share those out here in a second. Um, Abby, you want to talk a little bit more about you know, why differentiating and what it is a little bit?
Yeah, I sure will. So, as educators, and even if you're a new teacher, or if you're, as Brian mentioned in that introductory session, old as Methuselah, it doesn't matter. There are things that just intrinsically, as an educator, you know, and the things that you know already is that no two students are alike. No two students learn exactly the
Oh my
same
gosh.
way. And an enriched environment for one student is not always, what's going to work for another student. Students should be taught to think for themselves, and these are things that you guys already know. I feel like a lot of times teachers feel overwhelmed, or you know worried about differentiation, but it doesn't have to be complicated, and we have some really wonderful built-in tools in our platform and within the curriculum, that we're going to share with you today that hopefully will make this easier and less overwhelming for you. So, a little bit of background in case you're thinking, what really is differentiation? What does it mean to differentiate? And so, there's been a lot of research done about this. Um, and so, what is important to realize is that a differentiated classroom is one in which the teacher responds to the unique needs of the student, and that there's no one right way to create an effectively differentiated classroom. Teachers can craft responsive learning places in ways that are a good match for their teaching styles as well as their learners' needs. And that was by Dr. Tomlinson. But the main thing that I really want you to get from this slide is just to think about the ways that, the places in your classroom, the areas that you can differentiate. And that would be with your environment, the content, the process, and the product. And those things should all be differentiated according to the student's needs. And Michael and I are going to give you some actionable ways that you can do those things within your classroom and within the platform.
Right. So let's go back to that poll we took here. And I want to share the results with you all. Can you guys see the results?
Yes.
All right. So we have about 90% choose one, 2%, I'm sorry, 40% chose two, 90% chose three, a big group of or fours at 36%, and then we had about 8% choose five and 5% choose six. So let me tell you what those are. Those are each number matches one of our TCI strategies. And TCI uses 6 strategies of instruction to differentiate ways that students learn. So one is response group. This is where students communicate with one another, debate ideas, and speak and share out their answers. Our second is our social study skills builder, which students will use repetition, learn a skill, and like analyzing a political cartoon and be able to do it more than once to get better at it and to prove on to understand that skill a little stronger. Three is our visual discovery lessons. These are lessons where we use our placards or some type of image or video to help students learn the concept of what we're trying to teach. For writing for understanding, this lesson strategy is that students will at some point express what they know through writing. It could be a paragraph, it could be a essay, it could be a song, it could be an editorial letter to a newspaper or a website, but that is what 4 is. 5 is actually my favorite. That's the experiential exercise. That's where students role play. They are active, being whether they are deep sea divers, learning for looking at artifacts, or they're playing a role, a game where they're winning, or they're playing a game such as our depression game in playing a stock market game. But there's some type of activity that connects with the content. And then lastly is our problem solving group work. And this is, group work often people think, oh my God, group work's just always somebody that's gonna do all the work and some teachers are very afraid of it. But with TCI, we give everybody roles. And so everybody has a role to complete so that that group work is evenly done and supported as well.
Michael,
Yes.
I just have to say that I'm a little surprised that choice three, which was visual discovery, isn't as high as the other ones. Um, 85% of the population are visual learners, so I'm surprised about that. But in true form, I always feel like when you start back to school, and if you've ever been a movie lover, you think about that line in Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. I always feel like going back to school, your classroom is kind of like a box of chocolates because you never know what you're going to get, and you never know what the new year, what types of students you're going to have, and what their needs are. So, and Sherry is mentioning in chat, like you could only choose one, and that's true because a lot of times you're very strong in multiple ways. And I just would mention always to know yourself because typically if the style that you address most and identify most with as a teacher is typically your presentation style. And so we always want to be cognizant and aware that somebody sitting in your classroom doesn't have that same learning style, and we make it so easy because you have all these built-in strategies to address everybody's needs.
Absolutely. And I think that's the main thing is that we want you to know at TCI that we have all these different strategies to address different needs. So you're going to see certain students shine in different strategies and different lessons. And that's like the fun part about it. So we also, when this is over, I have a link and I mean Abby can actually put this link in the chat.
Yeah.
We actually have a link of it's kind of like a menu of some of our lessons that are connected to that style. So, for example, if you're a visual discoverer person, you can kind of see what TCI lessons for middle school and high school are examples of those lessons. You can go to those and when you have the opportunity. This is not going to be all that we have for that subject area or that grade level. These are just an example, and it's a good place to start. And it's some of the lessons that we enjoy here at TCI. But so, well, we'll go ahead and put that in chat, and you'll see that it will have all 6 of our um, strategies menus for that as well. Something you can take back with you. Now, I know there's probably some huge Doctor Who fans in here. And please forgive me, I am not a huge Doctor Who fan, but I have a concept of it. But I know if somebody in chat can give me the name of these alien robots that are always trying to conquer the universe against Doctor Who,
Oh,
somebody built
Rebecca got it. Do you pronounce that Daleks?
Daleks. Is that the Daleks? That right? So the Daleks, these people or aliens or whatever robots, all we have to do is put stairs up, right? And they're are they toast at that point? Are they there's no way. But the thing I like to show is that we have students that are like the Daleks, where if they're steps, they're gonna have a hard time to move forward. But when you give them a ramp, now they can conquer the whole entire universe. They can hover. I'm pretty. I figure that they probably can hover. But there's students that can't hover and that need the ramp. And so we want to make sure that we're not just giving students one way to move forward. We want when you're differentiating and you have access points and you have different ways to support students, TCI gives students the opportunity to move forward in several different ways, in several different styles, and we differentiate also to support them as well. So thank you for all my Doctor Who fans out there, and forgive me for not uh, knowing the name Daleks.
Hope indicated dialects. That might be the better way to pronounce it, but we'll have to.
Okay, dialects,
Michael and
dialects.
I will have to do some
Yeah,
research
we're
on
gonna.
that.
Yeah, I should have actually got the name down before I shared the example, but the picture resonated me to my style of differentiation. So we have also these access points in our high school programs and our third edition middle school programs. And these access points are examples of our lesson interactive student notebooks. And what they are more digestible and easier access to some of the main concepts and content. So you can still get the same content from students, the same answers, but just by asking and changing the language a little bit, by making it a little bit more digestible, by having them focus on certain things, they're getting the same concept as a student that may be at grade level, or a student that maybe still, that's still trying to learn English, as a language. They're able to answer them and feel confident that they're getting the opportunity to share what they know, just in a way that's a little more digestible for them. So TCI has this in every lesson for high school and also our third edition middle school as well.
Maybe we could have them, do a thumbs up in the chat, just out of curiosity. How many people have been using or were aware of the access point links that are embedded in the platform?
Yeah, and Chrissy has seen them,
Yep.
not
Okay,
aware.
good.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times as teachers, we get really comfortable in what we know. We kind of continue to work with that. We know that our lesson planning time is very limited. So we kind of just go to what we're focused on, what we know. But these are some more supports that are there. And so I'm glad that some of you know that they're there, but I'm also happy that we're sharing it now, and that some of you are going to now see them
And
and know that you can use them as supports.
And Michael, several people in chat have said, can we show them where to find them? In a little bit, Michael's going to go live and we're going to show you exactly where in the platform to find these things. And many middle and high school teachers have, they use these to support with differentiation, but a lot of times just with regular students, they'll use these as like a review tool before they give an assessment. So they're very helpful in multiple ways, not just for differentiation, but also just regular student support. And we're definitely going to show you where to find those things.
Thanks, Abby.
So we want to talk a little bit about vocabulary because what we know and what research shows is that if you pre-teach the vocabulary, it will enhance their reading comprehension. It'll actually go up by about 33% when you have specific key terms that are introduced prior to the learning. And it needs to be intentional. And so we have a lot of tools that are on the platform. And again, when Michael goes live shortly, we're going to show you where to find those tools. But we really wanted to give you some actionable takeaways, things that you can do, and you start using right away to help, support your students this way. So a couple of the things that we're going to, showcase when we go live, of course, there's a vocabulary self-assessment, and built into the slide deck, there's those drop and drag activities, whether you do those whole group or you assign them out to students. We also have, under the same purple navigational sidebar support tab, we have vocabulary development strategies. There's an entire toolkit with something like 50 black line masters. A lot of times, if you haven't really explored that support toolkit on the side, you might not have known that those were there, but those are there in PDF form so they can be printed out. And then we have our fantastic vocabulary cards, which are editable and printable and can be assigned. So a couple of the actionable ideas that I wanted to share with you that are really great ways to use the vocabulary cards, not just online, right? But you can print them out. And so you can make a word wall. And of course, if you're doing a word wall, interaction is really the key piece here, not just putting them up, but actually interacting with them. So you can do things like use Post-its where students can make their own definitions and illustrations. They can play games with the posted terms, such as Pictionary, or use Post-its to make a personal connection to the word. If you print them out, you can also play a really fun game called Three in a Row. You print out the vocabulary cards, have the students in groups or pairs, have them lay the cards out in rows of three. And then they can go across, down, or diagonal to write a sentence that makes sense with those three words that ties into what you're teaching. And then finally, another really fun activity is meaning match, which is kind of like, kind of like the memory game where you're gonna print out the vocabulary cards and they'll work in pairs. And so one side will be the word and the term, and then on the other side would be the definition, and they'll work together to talk about and match through the cards as a reinforcement tool, study tool. We also have, and we are so super excited because we have a new feature that rolled out, and we're super excited to share that with you. We have a ton of built-in digital reading support tools. So if you weren't aware, you can change the Lexile level. And again, when Michael goes live shortly, we'll get a closer, bigger view of this. But you can change the Lexile level. Level A is on grade level. Level B is a 25% drop, and you can adjust that by class or by student. You can use the text to speech feature. And so you can toggle between, that one where it highlights the whole sentence and the ticker moves over the word. That's such a game changer for kids that are struggling with reading. But you also can just have regular narration where it can be read to you. You can adjust the speed now. So slow speed, especially if you have ELL learners or kids that are, that need a slower rate of speed, that's very helpful. We have our main idea button, which is a game changer. This will actually pop out 75% of the testable text. So a lot of times you'll ask students, where's the main idea? And a lot of times they'll guess and say, oh, it's the first sentence. They're not always wrong. Sometimes it is the first sentence, but as you go up in the grade levels, grade bands, and the text becomes more complex, many times it's not the first sentence. So this will assist and help them. And again, that's a setting that you can control underneath your teacher settings of whether or not you want them to have the ability to utilize that tool. We also have the highlighting tool. Again, if you're reinforcing the main idea, you can show those supporting sentences. Anything that students do in their digital account is automatically time-stamped and saved, so they can print this out and study it. They also have the ability to add a note. We do have the Spanish translation that's trans-adaptive, so the entire page will translate into Spanish, and it's not an AI, computer voice. We actually have Native American Spanish speakers that are catching the nuances and inflections of the language, which is super helpful. But the feature that we are super excited about that literally just rolled out 2 days ago is our translation button. And so we're going to show you that live, and you can actually highlight the student text that you want to translate. And there's a drop down button now, and there's like hundreds of languages, and it will automatically translate the text and narrate it aloud in that language. So, game changer, love that. Michael will show that to you. So these are digital tools that are also available to help support and differentiate with your students that are at different levels. Enrichment and dive deeper. I always refer to the advanced learners as the most forgotten group. And maybe that's not 100% true, but a lot of times, when you have students that are really struggling in your classroom, so much time is spent focusing on trying to support them, and then the kiddos that are doing great and they get everything, and they're the ones that barely have to study, they remember everything you said, they're just exemplary students. But sometimes they really need to also be challenged, and part of the differentiation is supporting those students as well. And so we give you tools that are built in. I like to think of our enrichment tab or our enhancing learning tab in the orange planning box as our version of Teachers Pay Teachers. We have hundreds of resources, whether it's a link to another website or a video or a primary source article. It's really a way, especially when your students are very eager and interested, to go above and beyond and really challenge and support those advanced learners. And so also with the dive deeper, typically these are articles or primary source or secondary source documents that will also support them. And again, those things are already here on the platform. You don't have to go out and, look for extra things that tie in with the lesson. We give you everything that you need right here.
Thanks, Abby. And what I also say, I love about the dive deepers that 100% that they are really great for our students that are often, looking for a little more in-depth topics. But there's a lot of the unique and off the, I would say, um, main content topics you'll also find in our dive deepers as well. So I love our dive using our dive deepers. I think also one thing that, I would like to share is that we don't always think about how we set up our classroom as a way of to differentiate. And that is something that I learned in the classroom and was really helpful for me. So these are just some examples of just table labels that how you can use to help students differentiate as far as how do you decide to set students up and when you want to partner students up in your classroom. So whether you can have students, if you have I know that sometimes classrooms you have tables, maybe you have desks that you can want to label. But when you have these things set up in this way, for example, if you have a letter or a number, you can tell students, hey, all my letter ones, I want you to match up with a letter three, or all my uh, laughing emojis match up with the angel. If you set that up on by how students certain their levels are, you can match partners and match students up, very very quickly. Students don't have to know that if they are some of your high level readers that they're going to get the sunglass emoji, or they don't have to understand if they're struggling readers if they're going to get the angel emoji. Those are just ideas on how you can quickly partner students up together. If you're able to have students in groups, you can have students shoulder partner or face partner with one another. And if you have a group of four, you might want to put two strong readers in that group, and maybe two of the students that are still building their reading abilities in that group as well. So these are just things that you can actually find online. I use this in my classroom. My students actually love them, and they had no idea what I was doing when I would say, "Hey, all of my fishes, go ahead and match up with the cats." They had no idea. They just thought it was funny and it was kind of goofy and they went and did it and you didn't get a whole lot of pushback to it, but it's a really cool way to differentiate of just in how you set up your classroom. So you definitely want to be mindful on all those things when you're thinking about differentiating and supporting students in your class. TCI also has many other toolkits and different ways to help support students. So we have best practice for enrichment, different uh, ideas in our toolkit on how to support students that master the content, and we're trying to help them give a little bit more enrichment to them as well. We have a whole toolkit that also supports, students with special needs. So these are just different ideas on how do we support students that have IEPs and to help them with some of their learning disabilities as well.
Michael, can I just interrupt and add one quick point?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, in case you didn't know, for TCI, every lesson has been individually differentiated. We don't do one size fits all, like, hey, do this for all of your advanced learners. Every single lesson, and you can imagine the time that it took, but every single lesson has been individually differentiated. So as you're navigating through your program, when you're going lesson to lesson, in that orange teacher planning box, you're going to see the suggestions and accommodations that we recommend based on these populations within that lesson. Yes, is it, I think it's
We
Sa
can
or
we
Shah? Your question, the sessions are going to be emailed to everybody. So you'll have access to all the sessions when the summit is over. That's a great question.
Yeah, we can definitely share our slide decks too as well. And these are toolkits. So what I'm talking about right now is the toolkits that are just for generic. But what Abby is gonna, what we're gonna show you next
Yeah.
is we also have it even more in-depth supports by lesson. And so we have these toolkits for these different groups that you can kind of use as ideas that are not necessarily focused around our lesson, but can be just used in your classroom in general. But I think, Abby, right now it's a good time
To go
to
live?
go live and show them where are the toolkits.
Yeah.
So I am going to show you where our toolkits are. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. I'm in our sixth grade ancient world program. And where you're going to find the toolkit is in our program support. So if you can look at that purple bar under program, you'll see support. From there, you'll click on support. From there you'll see right here differentiation and accessibility. You also see reading and ELD support as well. But I'm going to go to the differentiation and accessibility to, tab here. And you can see that we have different ways that TCI is committed to universal access, and how we also have digital and reading skills tools as well. But then this right here where it says English, it says best practice for differentiating instruction. You're going to click on that, and a PDF is going to come up. And in this PDF there are going to be that toolkit for those three different styles of differentiation. The ones for best practice for students with special needs, enrichment, and our EOD learners. So this is going to just give you some just tips and ideas on way to help to modify and to give you to think about how do you help and support some of those students. So you can find those in your accounts there.
And Matt, just to your point, we are going to have, before we end our session today, we do have a little activity coming up where we're going to ask everybody to share some of the things that have worked really well so that we can collectively think tank learn from the group.
And Matt, we don't have I guess a library of past lessons, but you can share your lessons with teachers in your on your campus, and also teachers that are also in your school district as well.
Hope, if you
Hope,
can just put your question in the question and answer, and then that way we can respond to it. If you can type it into the question and answer
we
box.
can allow Hope to talk real for. Go ahead. Let's let Hope share. Hope, you're on the mic here. You wanna share with us your question? Hey Hope, can you hear us?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, yes, yeah. Do you wanna
Oh,
share
I
your
didn't have any
question?
questions.
Oh, you raised your hand. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally hit that, sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
no
no,
worries.
no problem. No
No
problem.
worries, no worries. Okay, so the other places that we were talking about where you can see some of these differentiating tips. I know we have about a few minutes, and we want to give you guys some time for questions and also to share. In our lesson overview, what Abby was talking about is that you're going to see in every lesson you have a planning box. This will also be in your printed teacher guide as well. But in that planning box, you will have this tab that says differentiating instruction. This is where, Abby, you want to talk about like how this is kind of made particularly for each lesson?
Yes. So if you scroll down, and again, this is like your online teacher's guide, but this is where what I was mentioning before, that each lesson is individually differentiated. So the accommodations and suggestions that you see here for quicker and deeper coverage for English language learners, learners that are reading and writing below grade level, special education needs, and advanced learners, each one of these accommodations, suggestions, and tips are done lesson by lesson. That's what I was referring to previously. And then if you go to the enhancing learning real quick, Michael, we can show them. So this is what I was referring to as like the teachers pay teachers for TCI, and we're constantly adding and updating, whether it's a literature recommendation or a web quest or a link to another website that's already been vetted, that will support the lesson, because we know that teachers' time is so valuable and you don't always have time, to go look for other resources to help support all of your learners.
And I'm going to pop now into our high school program to show you guys some of our access points.
Oh, and where to
So,
find those?
and
Yeah.
where to find them. So, once again, our planning box, when you go into a lesson overview in our planning box, you can see here that the differentiated instruction tab. When you go into our high school, you're going to see that right at the top where it says print modified reading notes, it has our access points for differentiation. So these are the same content that we would have in our normal reading notes, but it's just more modified for students that may have still learning different aspects of English, having issues with reading, or maybe have an IEP. So these is what it will come and look like, and you will need to print this out in a PDF. But every high school lesson will have one of these right here.
You know what, Paige? It's coming for elementary. Elementary teachers have been asking for video activities. If you have spent any time in our middle or high school programs and you've perused or explored the video activities, you know that they are like little mini Hollywood productions and we do everything top notch. So it's going to take a while to roll those out. But that is on the roadmap. I don't know exactly when. But yes, middle school and high school, there are built-in, video activities in addition to the biography and the other videos. Now, for elementary page, I will tell you the biography bank, if I don't know if Michael, if you can go to the biography library, but any of the biographies that you see that have the little green camera icon, that means that there's a short video along with questions that can be assigned to students. So that's available in elementary.
Yeah, my computer here is dragging here a little bit to get to the biography. I would say that Tiffany, the access points for middle school, they are coming. We need definitely 100% for you to keep putting feedback in, but so they can go a little faster. But we definitely eventually want to have those access points for our middle school teachers as well. And here's what Abby was talking about. When you see the little green camera, you can kind of click on it, and I'll go to this one here.
They're short and they're very engaging, and then you can actually assign the questions if you ever need them and get a good score on those.
Marian Anderson was one of the world's greatest singers. A famous musician once told her, "A voice like yours is
So these are
heard once in
definitely
100
good
years."
support for, I would say,
She began singing at
all levels and all grade bands. The last thing I know we want to show you guys here, I wanted to show you guys some of our tools and what it looks like live. We do have different reading levels. These are Lexile levels, like Abby mentioned, so it's not going to change completely, the everything, but it's going to make it easier for students to read. We have A and B. We're hoping for a C one day because teachers keep asking for it. So put it in feedback because if you guys ask for it, they'll do it. Here's our text to speech.
What is history? What is history, and why should we study it? Introduction. In
We actually have
1963,
two
Martin
speeds.
Luther King
Now we have
Jr.
a slow speed to that.
spoke from the Lincoln Memorial. On a hot August day in 1960,
Tiffany,
The
you can submit feedback underneath. There's a feedback tab that's right there. Michael's showing you the little question mark underneath. It'll drop down help feedback. And so any feedback, we have a whole team at TCI that reviews and goes and roadmaps and looks at feedback. And some of the best changes, like for example, when that text to speech tool rolled out, you couldn't adjust the speed. When the vocabulary cards rolled out, you couldn't edit them or add images. We updated those things based on teacher feedback nationwide. TCI really does care very passionately, not just about student success, but about teacher success. And some of the greatest changes we've made have been based on your feedback. So we always encourage you. Yes, Rebecca, that's right. They really do. We've pulled teachers in on content team meetings to get their feedback. So we really do just continue to strive to make things better and better for everybody.
and I would say that the feedback goes directly to a TCI representative, our content team. So it doesn't just go to this like a robot or AI. It goes directly to our content members, and they take a look at it as well. Yes, you can print out the vocabulary cards. Absolutely. I wanted to show you guys. Here's the main idea button that Abby mentioned as well, and our highlight button that you can highlight these things and use them, highlight words that students may need to learn or having a problem pronouncing or understanding. So these are good tools. But the last thing what we're talking about is we're excited about is
Super
our
excited.
translation. And right now I'm in German. I don't know why, because I just what I chose. But when you click on this, I've highlighted the words that I wanted to be translated. You can see now it will come up here in this top left corner, and it's in German, and it can also be read.
An einem heißen Augusttag im Jahr 1963 versammelten sich über
So
200.000
cool.
Menschen am Lincoln
I'm just
Memorial in
always
Uoh.
fascinated with the German language, and so that's why I chose it. Yeah, but yeah, so those are just some of the opportunities that you have to differentiate and support your students, also in reading supports within our program as well. And I know we have about 5 minutes left. So what we would like to do is have you guys share um, just ways that you guys differentiate in your classroom as well. So I'm going to put this whiteboard up here in a
Rebecca, I
second.
do believe that Chinese is there. I want to say there's almost
Oh,
200 languages that are in that drop-down menu.
yeah, I mean, just so you can see here, you can see all the different languages that are here.
Some of these languages, to be honest, I've never even heard of them. Pretty interesting.
So they have all those, we have a lot and more to come as well. More to come as well. Okay, back to, oops. Well, I think really time is coming up. We want to just have time for some questions right now. What do you think, Abby? Or you want to share the whiteboard?
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to if you the whole goal of the whiteboard activity was really just to, to share ideas about, if you're already doing something that's really wonderful and it's working so well for you and it's been a differentiation success, we could all benefit from that. So if there's something
Maybe
that
we just put it in chat,
we
right?
could just put it in chat.
Yeah,
We could.
yeah, just put
Yep.
it in chat. If anything that you guys just really like use in your classroom that really could
Help
support,
others. Yeah.
help others, that would be great. Are there any questions too that you may have? You guys put those in chats as well.
Okay, Stephanie
Stephanie
says
said,
for,
go ahead,
yep.
go ahead,
She
Abby.
modifies the TCI text using Magic School. I'm not
Nice.
familiar with Magic School. Are you, Michael?
I am not, but if sounds like something we should probably think about, get familiar
Yep.
with, huh?
Faith says that text to speech has been super helpful. Yes, for sure. I'm not sure. As far as I know, the site's not down.
No, I think what it is sometimes is that when your school auto rosters, they might not have your account ready for you yet. So that might be some of the issues when it comes to you not getting access until you get your students rostered into your account. Because a lot of districts shut it down until they do their rostering. Yep, there you go,
Oh,
Rebecca
yeah,
got
that's
it. Yep.
true. Yeah, Rebecca, that is true.
Will there be a lockdown for browsers for test?
That is
Um,
asked so frequently, but that is really a district level. We do allow you to lock things after turn in. You can randomize the questions as well as the responses. Um, but that really a lockdown browser is something that has to come from the district level. I get asked that frequently. And unfortunately, that has to come from like your district level blocking tools.
the anchor charts. Where are the anchor charts located? Um,
Okay, wait, chat's moving so fast.
yeah.
Okay, so the standards, your standards, so when you're in your program, all the state standards should link. Like right now, Michael is in a national account, so it's linking to those California standards. But when you're in your individual account, you should see your state standards. Those should be listed.
And also, if you go to
Um,
correlations on the purple bar, they'll be there as well.
Rebecca says she goes with paper and pencil tests just to keep them honest. Yep, that's another way. It's old school, but yeah, it works, right? Um, in the first period session as a language TCI has prioritized.
So Pashto, they're definitely working on it, and we're gonna keep adding languages as we continue to roll out this new tool.
Yeah, and Tiffany, like for anybody that's brand new, that's just learning, within the platform, we definitely recommend that you take those foundational courses with the navigation and the teaching and planning and the navigational one, those first two introductory courses, because that will be super helpful for you. Even if you attended the first session, Brian will they're like webcasts, you can do them on your own time, and he walks you through everything.
And far as the recommendation for biographies, typically, I would use them as those that related to the topic that I was discussing, but there really is no the biographies don't necessarily connect to a lesson per se, but you can actually when you assign it, it will go into that lesson for so students know where to look for it.
Okay.
I'm not sure what's Cynthia? I'm not sure what state, but there should be standards listed.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
like Abby
Oh,
mentioned, there's a in-app professional development. We know I gotta get you guys kind of out here to your next session here.
oh my
Um,
gosh, yes, we're at 2:01.
yeah, we are way past
You
it.
have nine, you
So
got 9 minutes to get to the next session,
yeah,
not to rush everybody, but we don't want anybody to be late.
yeah. Let me go here. So here's the page. Oh, Cynthia, Ohio. It should be. We should
Okay.
have our standards for Ohio, but I will. But let's check again. It should be when
Yeah,
you
we'll
get in your
check
account.
again.
It
Yeah.
should definitely be for Ohio. So here's what we have coming up for our next session from 11:10 to 12. If you guys need any instructions on how to get back to the lobby, yes, we can put in the chat
Yeah, I'll put that
how
in
to
the
get
chat
there.
right now.
Thanks, Abby.
That big link should take you to the lobby. And then hopefully everybody knows where they're going after. But listen, Michael and I thank everybody for your time and attention this morning. We really hope that you have a wonderful start to your school year. I also really hope that one of our participants in this session wins some swag or a gift card. Woohoo! Um, and again, if you need anything, please reach out to TCI at any time. We really are here to support you every step of the way.